Family. We're here today with Parker Townley of the Fair Trade University College and University campaigns. Parker, welcome.
Thank you.
Parker, before we get too far into things, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into fair trade? I understand there are some Jesuit connections that brought you to this work, for sure. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. So my name is Parker Townley. I'm a Gonzaga 2012 alum, so a proud alumni of a Jesuit institution. I studied Latin American studies and environmental studies, and together the two of those really address a lot of the same points that fair trade tries to address. During my studies there, I studied abroad in El Salvador with a program out of Santa Clara University, another Jesuit institution called the Casa de Solidaridad. And that's a social justice praxis-based educational opportunity. And so you live in community and you talk about themes of social justice and how we interact with the rest of the world. When I came back to Gonzaga for my final year, I kind of took those themes to heart and started working for the dining services as a sustainability coordinator, and I really focused on themes of food justice as part of that work. And so bit by bit, slowly got to take what was a pretty broad passion and channel it into something that was actionable. And so here we are today.
That's great. Thanks, Parker. And now the Fair Trade Towns and the Fair Trade College and University campaigns, these are kind of a movement that's connected to each other. I understand really it started in 2006 with a town called Media, Pennsylvania, and then in 2008 for the universities with the University of Wisconsin at Oshkosh. And Parker, it's also true that there's one Jesuit university with Fair Trade University, College and University status, Creighton University, and then there are 7 others right now that are currently in the process of working towards that status. Canisius College, Fordham University, John Carroll University, Loyola Marymount, Loyola University Chicago, Marquette, and St. Joseph's in Philadelphia. Can you tell us a little bit about the Fair Trade College and University campaign? Give us an overview.
Sure. And so Fair Trade College and Universities is an international movement. It began, as you said, about 4 years ago in the United States, but originally it started in Great Britain. A university professor from the University of Wisconsin, Oshkosh, went on a trip over to Great Britain, and he took back some of these ideas that started there. And during that process, it was really the idea of trying to pair the great purchasing power we have on college and university campuses. There's billions and billions of dollars spent every year on food, with what we envision to be a sustainable world. And so we're not looking just at the environment, but also how humans are part of a greater environment. So we have to look at social, economic, and environmental sustainability, all three together. And so that's something that fair trade has managed to really have a lot of success at. And so this movement has sort of started off small, again, one university in 2008, and over time we've managed to more or less double each year. So we're kind of on a really high uptick. This last 6 months we've taken in another 60 or 70 college and universities across the country that have expressed interest and gotten the ball rolling.
Wow, that's a lot of institutions. Can you talk about the steps that an institution would go through to become to earn Fair Trade College and University status?
Sure. And so after this first movement at the University of Wisconsin Oshkosh, it was realized that perhaps it would be a good idea to lay out some sort of a roadmap for community organizing, because oftentimes we have these great intents and we have a lot of energy, but we have to have some manner of being able to put that into the right direction. So the 5 steps that we came up with basically help guide you in that direction. Step number 1 is to build a team, and so this is a group of students, staff, faculty, food service providers, and administration officials that all work together on themes revolving around fair trade. So the reason we have all those different groups is because oftentimes students can really help dedicate time to those events, whereas faculty may be able to help later on when we're trying to pass a policy. So step number 2 is getting fair trade products into campus outlets. So this is maybe having fair trade coffee, fair trade tea, chocolate, maybe even fair trade clothing that comes from cotton that's responsibly grown. And so that means working with the food service provider to make sure that you have the option of buying fair trade anywhere on campus. Step 3 is working with the faculty to make sure that you have fair trade products available in faculty offices, at least a few offices on campus. And that shows that you've reached out to a couple of different members of the on-campus community. Step 4 is education. And personally, I think that's probably the most important. We're working to build a consciously consuming society. And so we can only do that by holding pretty frequent educational events. And so we usually ask for 2 events per semester. And obviously that changes if you're on quarters or other systems. But the idea is that students come into the university and then they leave. And so you have to continue with the process of educating as time goes on. It can be pretty fun because you get to use food. So that's one of the benefits of advocating for fair trade. And then finally is a fair trade resolution. And so that's something that gets passed by the university, and it recognizes the work that's already been done. And it basically identifies how to move forward once you've gone through the first 4 steps. So it's a deepening of the commitment and make sure that you can't go backwards on some of the commitments that you've already made.
Sure, that's great. So it sounds like it's really a process that makes this commitment to fair trade very sustainable and long-lasting in an institution.
Exactly, and so we do ask for the institutions like Creighton that have earned fair trade status that they continue in their involvement and they provide annual reports, they continue with educational events, and then they can also work on some new nationwide events and strategies as we seek to move forward, because really we're a movement of volunteers. There's no large staff that's dedicated to the Fair Trade College and Universities movement. It's we have a steering committee of about 12 to 15 students, staff, faculty, and nonprofit representatives that really they work together on a national level, and then on a regional level, it's all the schools working together to figure out what works and what are the challenges and how to overcome them.
Great, great. And Parker, what if is there the possibility for a high school to be involved with this movement, or how would that work?
Absolutely. So currently there are 5 fair trade high schools. Most of them have Catholic backgrounds, and they go through a similar set of processes. There's, again, 5 steps, but it's going to look a little bit different because you're not going to, at most high schools, not all, the students don't live on campus, so the focus is more on education rather than product availability. Mm-hmm. And you can find more information about high schools through Fair Trade College and Universities.
Great. And that brings us to a good point. Where should someone go if they want to learn more about this, learn more about the steps, and then initiate the process? Where should they go online?
So you can go to fairtradeuniversities.org. Again, that's fairtradeuniversities.org. Online, we have a list of the resources that we provide, including examples from other campaigns. We have what's called an organizer dashboard, so you can keep track of your progress as you go along. And that's sort of an interactive way in which it's very clear what's asked of you at the various steps. And then you submit that information. It gets reviewed by that committee, as I talked about, the national committee. And then once you've been approved for those 5 steps, that's how you become a fair trade university.
Great. Excellent, Parker. Well, this has been really good, and I'm sure that folks can also, through that website, find you and reach out to you with any questions that they may have. So thanks for your time. And there's something else you wanted to add?
I just wanted to say, if needed, you can always contact me at Townley. That's Townley at fairtradeusa.org.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you, Parker, for your time today, and we look forward to even more Jesuit institutions engaging in this great movement that empowers consumers and works in partnership with farmers and artisans throughout the world. So we're so glad that this is happening. Thank you.
Thank you.